Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach has been out for nearly half a year now, and we still have no clear word on what the confirmed DLC for the game will be. We got like one teaser, but besides that, we really don't know anything. So, since I know the future, and you know this because I nearly perfectly predicted the entire plot for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, years before it came out, before they even announced that Knuckles would be in it, which you can watch the video right here, by the way, it's pretty good, but don't watch it if you haven't watched the movie, because unironically, spoilers. But because I've got the gift of prophecy, I will rub the temples of Rystradamus and predict exactly what this DLC will be. A prediction based on the game we have in front of us, the odds and ends that haven't been answered, any teasers we might have had, and just general speculation about. Today I'm going to tell you exactly the plot and lore for the Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach DLC. Spoilers ahead. If I'm right. When I'm right. Really quick though, hey, I'm Rytoast, I stream on Twitch, I make videos on here, so, you know, watch my content. Before we can say exactly and accurately what will happen in the DLC, we need to establish the evidence we're working with, just like my last prediction. So, a DLC for a game like this can only be one of two things, either added modes and extras or added story. There's a lot of cut content in this game that was left nearly finished in the coding, so a DLC of added content is possible if it's built upon what's already there. Although frankly I don't think they're going to go with this option. Steel Wool maybe made an unpolished and rushed game, but they're not stupid. They're well aware of the outrage that this game stirred upon release. They know that if they release something unfinished or just kind of charge for what they should have released in the first place, it's going to be hellfire. Sure, they'll still make money, but the PR will be out of control. While I do think it's incredibly likely that these missing pieces of content will be added to the game with the DLC, I don't think they will be the main focus of it. Steel Wool knows what drives the fans of this franchise to play: lore. To make the most financial and PR success, they have to deliver some kind of lore to the game, or at least nail down exactly what pieces of the lore already present are canon. Alright, so we're all agreed that the DLC will most likely contain some of the unfinished content from the original release and some kind of lore. But what lore are we talking about? Well, most likely it would answer some unanswered questions from the game itself. Security Breach has this insatiable habit of asking questions and then never talking about them again. You can see this throughout the game, so any of these could be a great jumping off point for any potential DLC. So let's go through what we still don't know about the game. The first thing that always jumps to my mind is, why are there missing kids? We are told explicitly by Freddy that kids are still going to go missing if Vanny isn't stopped.
There will be more disappearances.
Yes, I am afraid that is correct.
Meaning, they have been. We're even shown the picture of the newspaper detailing 9 missing children. Or 8 if this is supposed to be Gregory, but the judge is still out on that. But the game never says why. Is it just because it's a FNAF game? There's gotta be dead kids in a FNAF game? I don't know. One loose end. How about whatever happened to Bonnie or Foxy? We know Bonnie was here, apparently not in Glamrock form if this picture is to be believed, but he's gone now, and he was last spotted entering Gator Golf. There's a few really good points to theorize about, and most people have already pretty good established theories. I know I believe that Bonnie was probably decommissioned in Gator Golf by Vanny or by Monty, and the parts were used to recreate most of Burn Trap. So like, that's enough lore for that. But what about Foxy? Foxy is plastered all over this mall. It'd be one thing if he just wasn't here. It'd be like, okay, he's not in the canon, but he's everywhere. He's in the daycare theater. There's a whole closed off section of the main mall area. The first walkable area of the game has a huge cutout devoted to Captain Foxy. The game has such a heavy presence of Foxy, but never actually shows or mentions the animatronic by name. He's just everywhere. He had to have been here. He has his own area like the other robots, but he's completely missing. So, another loose end. What about the therapy discs? At the end of the game, you collect these discs of therapy sessions, half of them clearly being from Vanessa as you can hear her voice, but the other half are unconfirmed as that patient doesn't speak. I believe that the discs are most likely Vanessa, and also Vanessa but when she's in her like Vanny altered state of mind. It makes the most sense that way. I don't think it's Gregory like some people have been suggesting. I think that's ridiculous, but we're dealing with FNAF, so who knows. But technically, it's unconfirmed, so another loose end. There is, however, one more, slightly more unfortunate loose end in the game. Through a convoluted puzzle by taking pictures of character cutouts on this poster, you can unlock a secret room in the daycare, the place Sun and Moon is when you first arrive. In there, a secret playable arcade game allows for yet another hidden puzzle. Within it, you glitch the whole Balloon Boy game to be a bright purple tint. It gives this cryptic message and boots you out. It really doesn't give us any idea what it's about, but many people think that's on purpose. See, there's another arcade cabinet mentioned in the lore messages of the game, Chica's Feeding Frenzy. Now you can't normally find this, but people have gone through out of bounds areas to find the machine, and in the files there are several files for a game named Chica's Feeding Frenzy. So the theory is that Balloon World was the first step of this long drawn-out arcade cabinet puzzle where you could go to Balloon World, possibly Chica's Feeding Frenzy, maybe even Gator Golf, as some of the unused golf holes that are still in the files depict the FNAF 1 location, so that could have been one of the glitched areas. Who knows? So again, another loose end. So to recap, the biggest unanswered questions we have from Security Breach are: why are there missing kids? Where have Bonnie and Foxy gone? Mostly Foxy, because Bonnie's pretty solvable. Who's on the other end of the therapy tapes that are silent? And what happens after Balloon World, and is Chica's Feeding Frenzy part of that? There's a lot of loose ends, and frankly, too many for one DLC to solve, in my opinion anyway. In that case, how are we going to narrow it down? Well, we look at any teasers that Steelwool has released. Lucky us, they've released one. Not too long ago, Steelwool released a poster during Dawko's charity stream. To date, it is the only known piece of teaser evidence for the Security Breach DLC. It's this poster of Chica's chowder. Right away, Chica's Feeding Frenzy is ringing alarm bells. I mean, it's Chica's chowder, so, you know, feeding, food, pretty obvious. But there's something to keep in mind here. For those who don't know, chowder is defined as a rich soup typically containing fish, clams, or corn, and potatoes and onion. Look at the beginning of that, typically containing fish and clams. Chowder is a seafood. Like, I've had chicken corn chowder, but almost every other time I see chowder, it's fish, or it's like tuna or something like that. Well, where do we see any kind of sea creatures? One area, the mostly barren Kids Cove, in which we see a mermaid Chica and a Captain Foxy. So, what the hell is the DLC gonna be? A cooking game? No. I wish. No. From the poster Steelwool released, I think we can write out the therapy CDs, as I don't really see it tying in at all. Also, we don't really need them, because obviously everyone agrees with me that it's Vanny and Vanessa, so we can just throw that out anyway. But we do have possible links to Chica, Foxy, Chica's Feeding Frenzy, Kids Cove, and if we extrapolate a little bit, we can even link it to the missing kids. I believe the lore that this DLC will add will take place before the events of Security Breach. I believe it's going to tell the tale of Kids Cove. When the Pizzaplex first opened, there were obviously the arcades and restaurants, and who can forget the main stage, but there were also 6 themed areas of amusement: Phaser Blast, Roxy Raceway, Gator Golf, Bonnie Bowling, Mazercise, and Kids Cove, all headed by their respective mascots: Freddy, Roxy, Monty, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. One play area in particular saw a lot of traffic from the kids: the Cove. It was a fun hide-and-seek type play area, with plenty of nooks and crannies to find. The area was built to feel like a hidden cove, filled with pirate decor and unearthed treasures. After a while, the head security guard started to realize this play area was actually perfect for hiding. She had the attraction shut down, but modified the themed front end to seem like the whole shebang. Once an unattended child arrived, however, Foxy would peer out a seemingly invisible door, much like the poster door we entered the Balloon World room in, and beckoned the child inside. Don't you want to play hide and seek with Captain Foxy? Except at that point, the cove had been transformed into a seemingly impossible labyrinth, dark and misleading. Once the child was fully deep and alone in the maze, a mysterious rabbit would do what needed to be done. After all, she's got a project of her own, and she needs quite a lot of remnant to do it. Okay, I hear you. How the fuck does this translate to a DLC? Hear me out. It definitely depends on the scope of the DLC. Like, if it's a $5 thing, that's hard to work with. If we're talking like $10, $15, I think I got it. If it's like $30, I have no clue. But if we're talking the $10 to $15 range, I think I know what it will be verbatim. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Deluxe. You know, like a pizza. It's a slight pump to the content already in the game, adding in those missing cabinets I talked about, maybe even adding the missing bowling minigame and extra golf holes, and it fixes and implements the trail of glitched arcade cabinets, probably hiding some sort of lore behind it. The main feature of this DLC, however, is 2 additional modes. The first, a survival mode, as we see in the files for this game, probably an extended version of one of the survival minigames, or maybe even a FNAF 1 style game, but in this area with the new robots. Kind of wishful thinking. The other, though, is hide and seek. It's an odd mode, as when we start, we seem even shorter than Gregory was. But we start with a door opening, and Foxy welcoming us inside to play a round of hide and seek. Once we get in, however, we realize we have to navigate the zigzagging labyrinth that is the Kids Cove Nightmare version, avoiding Vanny and Foxy and trying to find a way out. Otherwise, we'll turn into one of the soon-to-be missing children. I feel good about it. I don't feel nearly as good about the Sonic prediction, so take it as you will, but I feel good about that. What do you think? Like, am I just doing wishful thinking, or is there something in here that you think is right? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, maybe consider do a DLC. You know, do like and subscribe. That was a good one. Anyway, shout out to the best patron, Emberisk, and until next time, as always, stay toasty.